Welcome to day 3 of sweaty rolling. It's 1,000,000 degrees in here, woohoo! Okay, we are gonna roll the lower part of your torso, your low back and your glutes. And so, functions. Your piriformis runs from your sacrum out to your hip. This rotates your hip joint and also provides a lot of stability. Your glutes extend and rotate your hip. And then your QLs, which is the back of your waist, the back of your abdominals, provide a lot of stability to your lumbar spine, allow you to push and pull and lift heavy things. And this whole apparatus, all of these things that we're running today, are like the powerhouse of your movement. This is where your big motions come from. They are big, strong structures, and they need love. So come onto your back. This whole sequence is going to be laying down on your back, so yay for that. Our pre-check today is a bridge post. So put your feet close to your bottom, heels a little wider, and then just bridge your hips up. See how that feels. How much extension can you get in your hips? Lisa's all warm because we've been doing this already for a while, but you might be cold in the morning and not have all that much. So that's your pre-check. Remember how that feels. And we're going to take your toted balls. You can do this on your OGs for sure. If you have a pair of pluses or even a pair of alphas, you could do this as well. We're going to start off with the balls right on either side of your tailbone. I know, it's a little intimate, but you're going to put the ball on either side. And if you want a little more room between the balls, you can just loosen up the little tote a little bit and you get a little more room between your balls if that feels more comfortable. Otherwise, you won't do any damage with the balls touching each other because you've got this nice space. Just let the weight settle in there. You might feel some interesting sensation. I'm going to take a couple of moments and roll your body down and the balls up. So we're just going to roll the back of the pelvis, right? Your sacrum, the place where your spine fuses with your pelvis. It's an arrowhead-shaped structure. It doesn't articulate. It has 2 tongue and groove joints along the side of it, and you don't really want to be moving those guys very much. They have a little bit of give, but if you sit too heavily into those joints, good things are not going to happen. So you're slowly, like Lisa's going up and down a little bit, slowly just making your way up the back of the pelvis. You might find some spots that are super ouchy, and you can pause there. You can rock a little bit side to side, feel a little more weight in one side, a little more weight in the other. We're going to work the sides in a second. Once you come up to the top of your pelvis, just take a breath or two there. Then you're going to take the balls out, and following over from the top of the sacrum, turn the balls horizontal and place them across that top part of the pelvis on one side. This is your piriformis muscle. If you are a runner, this might not feel so good. And then you're going to start to rock side to side as Lisa is doing. You can drop your knee of that same side down toward the floor. You can have your feet nice and wide as you do this. You can also rock a little up and down to cross fiber. The piriformis runs laterally across the side of your back. You might feel this all the way up in your neck. You might feel it all the way down in your toes. There's even something called piriformis syndrome, which is common in a lot of runners. This is what hurts when you're doing half pigeon. Most people, this is the half pigeon thing that you're trying to undo. After you've done a few passes there, you're going to move the ball out a little further. So it's that same line across the top of your pelvis, just more to the lateral side of your body. And same thing, you can rock side to side over it. You can chug up and down over it. Whatever gives you some relief there. The art of rolling is the art of placing your weight on the ball so it feels good. So Lisa and I, we could do this all day. You have to find the way that it feels good to you. Okay, now you're going to take the balls out. We're going to take them vertical right to the edge of your sacrum, not on the bony part at the back of your upper pelvis, but in the soft tissue of your glutes. So a little bit lower, close to the sacrum, on those big fibers of the glutes. So once you get it there, you're just going to rock a little side to side, see how that feels. We're going to do 3 different stations on the glutes. After you've rubbed it a little bit side to side, now stop and squeeze that butt cheek. Squeeze the glute and release it. Contract, relax. The scientific name for this is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Basically what it means is a really good way to release muscles or to use them to exhaustion. Engage, engage, release. It's much easier to engage a warm activated muscle, to release a warm activated muscle than a cold deactivated muscle. All right, so then move it over to the middle of the glute, second of 3 stations as we're moving out toward the side of the hip. Little roll side to side. Oh yeah. And then once you've rolled it a little bit, pause. A little direct pressure, and then you can try that squeeze and release technique again. Contract, relax, PNF into the middle of the glute. You see Lisa's whole pelvis is lifting up as she does it because it's just a strong, powerful muscle. The difference between relaxation and engagement in all that mass is pretty profound. All right, and then move it out to the 3rd station out on this, a little bit toward the side. A little rock side to side. And then contract, relax, squeeze and release, PNF. All right, now once you've done the 3 stations of the glute, we're gonna do some stripping all the way across. You're gonna wanna get that opposite foot underneath you a little bit so you have a little lift. And you're gonna, or you can roll this side to side. You're gonna just see if you can roll all the way from your sacrum, all the way out to that hip, across those long, strong fibers of your glute. You can come up on your elbow if you like. And if you would rather just be laying on the floor and doing what we were doing a moment ago, that's okay too. Okay. Now, we're gonna take the balls horizontal. So we're gonna put them on the floor, horizontal, and we're gonna trace a line up the side of the body. So roll onto your back. So we're gonna roll on and off the balls. Come onto your back and put the balls like sticking out from your body, like down here, sticking out. There you go. And then roll up onto them and roll back down. Take them up a tiny bit and do it again. So we did this at the wall yesterday, but this feels really different when it's connected to the glutes. Then bring it up a tiny bit. Oh my goodness, I just love this. You can do this on your alpha too. No, Lisa, I think I could do that. We've been rolling together a long time and we have very different areas of our body that are like, ow, ow, ow. This is not Lisa's favorite thing. So if it feels like too much, that's okay. And you're coming eventually all the way up to the top of your ilium, up to the bottom of your waist there. And if you don't want to roll your whole body onto the side, if you just want a little bit of your body weight onto the side, that's fine. Okay. Don't hold your breath, she says. Has a lot of meanings. Keep breathing, keep breathing. Yeah, so we're in a little bit in the piriformis, a little bit in the glute, a little in the TFL, all that stuff. Okay, now we're coming up to the QL, so the back of your waist. We're gonna take the balls for this one vertical. And by the way, I should have said this at the beginning, you can do this whole sequence at the wall. 2 balls might be a little tall. If you're a short person, I'm 5'9", right? So 2 balls in my waist is not gonna be a problem. But if you're 5'1", maybe you're gonna want 1 ball because you have a shorter waist. 1 alpha, 1 plus size ball here. You're gonna tuck the ball at the side of your waist and roll onto it. Now we were rolling onto it, but this time we're gonna roll over it. So plowing all that soft tissue toward your spine. If you feel like you don't have enough weight into the balls, if you have a big curve at your low back, like I do, you might want to take a half block, a book, even a full block, and get it underneath the balls so you can get a little more So take it, I would take it horizontal. And just lay that part of your waist onto the block first. Right? So you feel comfortable. It's on a little bit onto your spine, but on that side of your body. And then place the balls. Your feet are going to want to be flat for this. And then you're using the press down of your body weight a little bit at a time to push all that skin and fascia and muscle along that middle part of your back toward the spine. You can do it a little bit at a time. You can rock in, or you can just slowly, like a snowplow, moving at 1.5 miles per hour, pushing it toward the spine. Out here, to the outside of your waist, you have your obliques, your lats, lots of layers of strong, supportive muscle. Once you get toward your spine, you have a very thick layer of fascia, the lumbar fascia, plus your erector spinae muscles, and all of that together with your QLs, your quadratus lumborum, which are those big, powerful push, pull, lift muscles at the back. So there's a lot of things going on back there. They will all feel a little bit different. When you come toward the spine, you'll feel those erector spinae, and you might be like, okay, that's freaking enough. All right, Lisa's like, I've had enough of that side. Let's go to the other side. All right. So we're going to start off on the glutes, yeah? What did we start off on the first side? Oh, the piriformis, right. I knew there was something. Okay, so you're going to take the balls horizontal at the top of your pelvis. That's your piriformis muscle. And you can rock onto that side of your body and off a couple times. That is a major hip rotator, all of this. A few times there, and then move it out more toward your side body on that same lateral height, top of your pelvis. Alrighty, and then bring the balls out, bring them vertical alongside your sacrum, all the way toward the middle of your body, but not on the sacrum, just next to it, next to that tongue and groove joint, to start plowing the glute. So a little side to side action, feet are planted, moving your hip around, and then come to some fixed point and contract, relax that muscle, that strong muscle. Squeeze and release. Maybe 5-6 times. It will help soften it. And then take another couple passes over it. See if you have a little more room there. And then we're going to bring it out to the middle of the glutes. A few passes side to side. Station number 2. And then contract, relax, squeeze, push away from the balls, and then let them sink into that tissue. Squeeze, push away, and sink, warming it up. So a lot of this work happens actually in the nervous system. It's the perception of your brain about what's going on in that tissue. And then finally out to the third station, way out to the outside of your hip, coming toward the part of the gluteus medius that threads into the IT band, which you will remember from yesterday. Squeeze and release, squeeze and release. All right, and then if you like, you can strip the whole glute side to side. You can do it here on the floor. You can come up on your elbows. Maybe that feels like way too much work right now. Just feeling that big structure, the long fibers, long big fibers of your gluteus maximus. The powerhouse of movement. Okay. Now we're going to take the balls horizontal, sticking out on the outside of your greater trochanter. And then roll up onto them to whatever degree you want. And roll off again. Move them up a tiny bit, Same thing. We're going to take this all the way up to the waist. You cannot give enough love to your IT band, pretty much. So, little revisit from yesterday. All the way up to the top there. All right, and then we're going to bring the balls vertical into the side waist, into the soft tissue between your pelvis and your lowest rib, whatever size you need. If it's 1 ball, 2 balls, an alpha. Let me just say, please don't ever roll your body on a lacrosse ball. Way too hard. Softballs, You're going to end up doing more damage than good. And you're going to plow across these lats and serratus fibers over toward your QLs, your lumbar fascia, and ultimately your erector spinae. So you're just laying body weight. Maybe you want to be on a block. If you have an alpha or some pluses, you probably don't need the block, but these balls are a little small, especially if you're a larger person, to get into this. But maybe you want to do it gently. Maybe it's just the thing to do it gently with a smaller ball. So just see what you've got. You can also do this at the wall. The whole sequence. Of course, we have this chair rail here, which makes it all so difficult. It's pretty, but it's hard to roll on this wall. All right. And then, if you're on the block, you're going to keep it there. Put it right in the middle of your back, side to side, and we're going to put the balls on either side of your spine, just below your lowest rib. You could do this on the block or not on the block. All right, Lisa's in bliss now. So, QLs, lumbar fascia, erector spinae, all those little muscles around your spine. Holy cannoli. And then just roll your body up a little bit so the balls come down and dock right on top of the pelvis, just like you're nudging the sacrum, but you're not on it yet. And you can take the block out if that seems appropriate. So you're still on the soft tissue above the pelvis, not on the pelvis itself yet. Just a few breaths. And then again, you can stay on the block, or maybe now it's time to take the block out. You're going to bring the balls to the top of your sacrum. So now you're on the bony part at the back, at your low back. We've already done this once. We started out here, coming up. We're going to finish going down. So let's take a few breaths on 4 or 5 stations each in different places on the sacrum. You can rock up and down a little bit, shift your weight a little side to side, drop your knees a little bit side to side. Just be careful. You don't want to be right in the middle. You don't want to put weight right in the middle there. Then come down, next station. And another one. And 1 or 2 more coming down toward finally on your tailbone. On either side of your tailbone. You don't want to roll on your tailbone, right? Too much pressure. And oh, look, Lisa's straightening her legs down. That might feel really nice. If you're on alphas, not so much. And just take a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, you're going to plant your feet flat, take the balls out, set them aside. And then here we go for our recheck. Take your bridge pose, lift your hips up, and see if you haven't got a whole lot more lift for having opened up your glutes, which are powering this extension in your hips, Your low back might feel a little bit more mobile, and then set it all down. If you have another moment to lay on the floor, by all means, maybe you want to start it all over again. Woo-hoo-hoo. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us for day 3. We'll see you tomorrow for the hands on the forearms.